What's up, everybody? This is your boy Tech G back with another video. And in this video, you will learn about various programming languages, various programming language categories such as interpreted languages, compiled programming languages, query languages, and assembly languages. Interpreted. So in computer programming, an interpreted programming language does not need to be compiled before its programs are executed. Instead, another program called an interpreter reads the program and executes it on the fly, meaning it runs line by line. This contrasts with the compiled program, which is converted into machine language, the binary or the zeros and one instructions used by the CPU before it can run. Scripting languages. A script or scripting language is a computer language with a series of commands within a file that is capable of being executed without being compiled. Scripting languages refer to interpreted languages that are frequently used to create scripts that are run from within an integrated development environment or an IDE. The IDE contains a text editor for writing language statements and an interpreter to test the program. After the program is written and tested, it can be saved as a script for reuse if desired. BASIC. So BASIC stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. BASIC is a computer program language that was developed in 1964 to provide a way for students to write simple computer programs. Since then, the language has evolved into a more robust and powerful language and can be used to create advanced programs for today's computer systems. Any language with BASIC in the name is a descendant of BASIC, such as GW Basic, Visual Basic, Quick Basic, True Basic, Q Basic, etc. And that is a screenshot of what BASIC language looks like. Next, we have Perl. Perl is a family of two high-level general purpose interpreted dynamic programming languages. You have Perl 5 and Perl 6. Perl 6 is a substantial rewrite of Perl 5. Perl combines features from a number of languages, including BASIC, and is often used as a quote-unquote glue language to connect different systems and interfaces together and for quick data analysis. Next, we have JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting or programming language that allows you to implement complex features on web pages, such as displaying timely content updates, interactive maps, animated 2D, 3D graphics, scrolling video jukeboxes, etc. Scripts are typically stored using the .js extension. Next, we have Python. Python is a general purpose coding language, which means that unlike HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it can be used for other types of programming and software development besides web development. Python could be used for things like backend or server-side web and mobile app development, desktop apps and software development, processing big data and performing mathematical computations, and writing system scripts. Python's design philosophy emphasizes code reliability, with its notable use of significant white space. Its language constructs and object-oriented approach aim to help programmers write clear, logical code from small and large-scale projects. Next, we have Ruby. Ruby is gaining popularity, and a framework called Ruby on Rails has helped to increase its usage for web programming. The Ruby language is completely object-oriented in that everything is an object. For instance, even the most basic data types like integers have methods and instance variables. This provides a greater ability to use method chaining, where many lines of code can be consolidated into one. PowerShell. So PowerShell is an automatic task framework from Microsoft, with a command line shell and scripting language integrated into the .NET framework, which can be embedded within other applications. It automates batch processing and creates system management tools. It includes more than 130 standard command line tools for functions and enables administrators to perform tasks on local and remote Windows systems through access to component, object, model, and Windows management instrumentation. I should say WMI instead of WIM. All right, so let's talk about scripted languages. So a scripting language is a programming language for a special runtime environment that automates the execution of tasks. The task can alternatively be executed one by a human operator. Scripting languages are often interpreted rather than compiled. Scripting languages have a built-in command interpreter. A command interpreter runs the command stored in source code or in bytecode. Source code is human readable code. Markup languages. A markup language is a computer language that uses tags to define elements within a document. It is human readable, meaning markup files contain standard words rather than typical programming syntax. Markup languages are used to annotate a document with tags that can indicate characteristics such as fonts, colors, hyperlinks, etc. While several markup languages exist, the two most popular are HTML and XML. HTML, that stands for a hypertext markup language. HTML is the language used to create web pages. Hypertext refers to the hyperlinks that an HTML page may contain. Markup language refers to the way tags are used to define the page layout and elements within the page. Unlike other languages discussed, HTML is not used interactively. HTML commands are written with a plain text editor such as Notepad and saved using the .htm or .html file extension. The file is opened in a web browser. HTML tags specify how the content in a web page should be displayed. For example, the color and font used by specified text, the background color, hyperlinks to other parts of the page or other pages on the web, etc. Almost all HTML tags are paired. For example, we have this HTML code right here, which has the less than symbol, href equals https://www.technologyg.com. The greater than symbol, technology G, and then the less than /a greater than symbol. So basically, that line of code would mark that the technology G part is going to be a clickable hyperlink. A tag starts with the less than / is a closing tag. So basically, for example, if you see a less than /a greater than symbol, that means that tag has ended. HTML is developed and maintained by the WHATWG community. HTML can be combined with other languages in web pages. Next, we have XML. That stands for Extensible Markup Language. And it is a markup language that defines a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that is both human readable and computer readable. Like HTML, XML is tag based and uses the less than / symbol at the start of an ending tag, but XML tags can be used to identify information types. XML can also be converted into JSON for incorporation into JavaScript. Let's talk about compiled programming languages. So a compiled language is a programming language whose implementations are typically compilers or translators that generate machine code from source code, and not interpreters, which are step-by-step executors of source code where no pre-runtime translation takes place. Interpreted programming languages are run line by line. Markup languages work tag by tag. Compiled languages convert the entire program or the source code into machine readable code, which is also known as object code. During the process, the compiler stops if there are any errors. Although compilers are processor specific, as well as operating system specific. Compiled languages can be used across different processors and operating systems, although modifications may be needed in some cases. So next, we're going to look at some of the most common programming languages. So we have C. C is a high-level and general-purpose programming language that is ideal for developing firmware or portable applications. The C programming language was originally developed for use with Unix, but it is supported by most processor architectures and major operating systems. Next, we have C++. C++ is based on C, adding additional features such as object-oriented programming and classes to make the language more powerful. In object-oriented programming, a class is a template for creating a specific type of programming object. Next, we have COBOL. Stands for Common Business Oriented Language, and it is the second oldest high-level programming language. Fortran is the oldest. It is particularly popular for business applications that run on large computers. It uses English-like syntax to help make it largely self-documenting. Next, we have Java. Java is a general-purpose programming language that is class-based, object-oriented, and designed to have as few implementation dependencies as possible. It is intended to let application developers write once, run anywhere, also known as WORA, meaning that compiled Java code can run on all platforms that support Java without the need for recompilation. Java is frequently used for creating client-server web applications as well as for programming mobile phones, smart cards, and many Internet of Things devices or IoT devices. According to the Java website, over 15 billion devices run Java. Next, we have VBA. Visual Basic for Applications is a programming language that is similar to Visual Basic, only it is embedded in an individual Microsoft application such as Excel, Word, Access, and other applications that have VBA support. Using VBA, you can create macros or small programs that perform tasks within the Microsoft application. VBA can be used maliciously, so it is good practice to disable VBA by default and enable it only when working with VBA-enabled documents from trusted sources. In Microsoft Office, open the Trust Center and disable all macros. Microsoft Office apps will prompt you when you open a file that contains macros, so you can decide whether to enable the macros in that file. Next, we have query languages. So a query language refers to any computer programming language that requests and retrieves data from database and information systems by sending queries. It works on user-entered structured or formal programming command-based queries to find and extract data from host databases. We have SQL, that stands for Structured Query Language, and is sometimes pronounced SQL, and it is a domain-specific language used in programming and designed for managing data held in relational database management systems, also known as RDBMS, or for stream processing in a relational data stream management system, RDSMS. It is particularly useful in handling structured data, i.e. data incorporating relations among entities and variables. SQL supports extensions that permit the use of Java, .NET, Perl, Python, and other languages for accessing information stored in SQL databases. We have XQuery. XQuery, also known as XML query, is a query and functional programming language that queries and transforms collections of structured and unstructured data, usually in the form of XML, text, and with vendor-specific extensions for other data formats such as JSON, binary, etc. And then finally, we have assembly language. So assembly language, sometimes referred to as assembly or ASM, is a low-level programming language. It is not just a single language, but rather a group of languages. An assembly language implements a symbolic representation of the machine code needed to program a given CPU architecture. Instead of being cross-platform, assembly language is specific to a processor type. Instead of being used to create large applications, assembly language is used for operating system-related functions such as device drivers. Assembly language is affected by both the processor type and the assembler used. All right, so that is our class. Let's go ahead and get into some check on learning, shall we? So the first question is, one of the differences between C and C++ is what? Would it be C++ is an interpreted version of C? Would it be C++ adds object-oriented programming to C? Would it be C++ does not use classes? Or would it be C++ is a cross-platform version of C? So what is one of the differences between C and C++? And the correct answer would be C++ adds object-oriented programming to C. Next question. One of HTML's most well-known features is its use of paired codes. Which of the following languages also uses paired codes? Would it be XML? Would it be BASIC? Would it be COBOL? Or would it be Java? So which one also uses paired codes? Correct answer would be XML uses paired codes. Remember, paired codes is in direct reference to creating, formatting how web pages look in terms of fonts, in terms of hyperlinks, in terms of colors and things of that nature. Final question. Which of the following languages are run line by line? Would it be HTML? Would it be XML? Would it be markup languages? Or would it be interpreted programming languages? So which ones are run line by line? The correct answer would be interpreted programming languages run line by line. These other three, XML, HTML, markup languages. Well, HTML and XML are forms of markup languages. Remember, they deal specifically mostly with just dealing with how web pages look when you click on a web page. All right. So that is our class. So in summary, we have discussed programming language categories in which we talked about interpreted languages, compiled programming languages, query languages, and assembly languages. For more information on this, please visit my website, Technology G, so you can get read up on the latest and greatest to help you successfully pass your CompTIA IT Fundamentals Certification exam. And until next video, ladies and gentlemen, peace.